Why don't we start with Duke?
Defending champs,
Duke Blue Devils.
I don't know what to think of Duke beyond they've earned a benefit of the doubt with whatever degree of success that they've attained these first couple years under Manny Diaz. And winning in weird ways is better than losing, right? Winning the conference in a weird way is better than not winning the conference. The hires seem to be pretty good. The portaling seems to be good to very good with recent results, even though the defense was kind of a disaster last year. Made plays, filled up certain stat buckets. Duke is fascinating. Duke is once again trying to do what it's done these past couple years, which is find talent in the portal, look to the Ivy League once again, as they did last year. I think it's a Penn receiver this year for Duke.
Yep.
So there's that. Go Quakers? Quakers? Yeah.
Go Quakers.
I think Manny Diaz should be talked about in the same vein as how we talk about Rhett Lashley, where he's earned a certain benefit of the doubt, that he has immediately built teams that have been competitive, have won in weird ways, have lost in weird ways, but not enough to really affect the bottom line, to the point where if you're looking at both the Mike Elko stretch and the Manny Diaz stretch, Duke has turned into a capital P place where one can win consistently.
It's kind of crazy. You know,
and it's not win capital W, it's a lowercase W win, but they won the damn conference last year.
It's such a weird pretzel you need to bend your mind into when you're trying to figure out Duke.
Yeah.
Because like you, I feel very mixed. And the point you're making now about the coaching is right on. Duke has had back-to-back 9-win seasons. Even though I think they're probably going to take a step back this year, we cannot discount what this coaching staff has done. And I don't want to sell them short. Bear in mind, Duke lost to Tulane and UConn last year and still found a way to win the ACC.
That's a playoff team and a shockingly good team that could have been undefeated that lost their coach to a better program because they were so good.
I'm not saying they're bad teams.
Totally.
I'm just saying those are two non-conference opponents that maybe at the start of the year we had looked at dramatically differently.
Yeah.
Winnable games that they did not win, and Duke still found a way to cobble it together and win the ACC. This was a good offense last year and a defense that created havoc, but basically didn't stop anybody. So you fast forward to this year, they lose Darian Mensah. We talked about that on the last 2 episodes. Frankly, we've been talking about that all summer. They also lose Barkate, who was the number 1 wide receiver for Darian Mensah. This year, as you said, a lot of new faces. The defense has definitely taken on some water. Logically, I think they would have to take a step back, but they do have an excellent running back in Nate Sheppard. They have what appears to my eye to be an okay offensive line. I think they'll be all right up front.
Yep.
They have another interesting transfer quarterback who maybe we can discuss. If nothing more, he's proven that he's capable when he's healthy. And I think they've got a defense, at least, if nothing more, that is, again, laser focused on creating negative plays and turnovers. So they're willing to give up some of those big plays, but they're doing so mindful of the fact that if they create a few of those big turnovers, a few of those big plays throughout the course of the game that can flip the outcome, then it might be worth it. It might come out in the wash.
It's a vision, right?
It's a version of how you could do this.
Correct, right? You have to have an intention. You have to have a plan. If you're not a big believer in your ability to play teams straight up, then you get creative and you're like, how do we force turnovers? How do we get wonky? How do we confuse people on third down? They didn't confuse a lot of people on third down last year.
No.
The formula for Duke last year was throwing the ball really well and doing so in a way that covered up for a pretty deficient defense for much of the season. And not, this is going to sound very basic, they didn't lose games to bad teams, right?
No, they really didn't.
That'll get you to 8 wins in the ACC. If you merely beat the teams you should and are competitive against everybody else, it's a really gilded path to 8 wins. And now, that's what we have in Duke.
It is. Now, I think the offense has to look different this season.
Sure.
It just has to be different. Darian Mensah threw for 3,900 yards and 34 touchdowns a year ago. They're not going to get that kind of production in the passing game this year. I'm expecting more of a ball control situation. where they're focused on the run game, on play action. I think they're going to feed Nate Sheppard. He was a freshman All-American a year ago, went over 1,100 yards. He's a bull, runs angry. I think he is going to be sort of the centerpiece of the offense. The X factor, though, is the Walker Eget thing. So Walker Eget is going to be the new quarterback this year, provided he's healthy. He comes over from San Jose State. He's a tough kid. Interestingly, tore his ACL in 2024, played through it without the surgery in 2025, finally got the surgery at the end of this year. And as such, his spring reps were limited. It sounds like he'll be a full go in time for the fall. He's just not the same type of quarterback as Darian Mensah.
Correct.
Darian Mensah was a little bit more dual threat. Walker Eget is a pocket passer. I expect he's going to be throwing to his tight end. I expect that it's going to take a little bit until they figure out this receiver room. But I think all told, the offense will end up being sufficient, just provided they can get that push up front and Nate Sheppard is still there and healthy.
I agree. I was looking at Duke's schedule. It's an interesting schedule, just sort of like what we alluded to with last season. They have Tulane and Illinois this year. Tulane's at home. Illinois is on the road, correct?
Yeah.
How many of these teams, and I guess excluding William and Mary, because I don't know their exact situation.
Who?
Bill and Mary.
Bill and Mary, thank you.
Bill and Mary. So of the other 11 teams, how many have new starting quarterbacks? 10 of 11.
Wow.
And that's not necessarily unique to Duke as we look across this sport. Obviously, there's going to be movement with every team at quarterback, but I think it's just C.J. Bailey who they face as a returning quarterback on this schedule. Darian Mensah they're familiar with, and they will see him in Coral Gables. So he is a returning ACC quarterback, but he's not a returning Miami quarterback. Duke's schedule is fine. I think it's backloaded, yes.
Starting in week 8, it is at Virginia, home against BC, at NC State, at Miami, home against Clemson, on the road at Wake.
Right. I don't know. I the road home splits are tricky, but I don't know, man. I sort of bring this full circle. Winning is a skill. Duke and Manny Diaz seem to have that skill. We'll see on quarterback health. We'll see on the difference between this year's offensive vision and last year's, if it's going to be more balanced or even much more skewed to the run. There's a lot new on the defense up front and the defense in the back end. Linebacker has some experience, it seems. There are pieces to build around. Hopefully they can stay healthy. Hopefully every team can stay healthy. But I don't know. Duke just seems like one of those programs that until shown otherwise, they're just going to keep painting the corners. That it's not pretty, but they're throwing strikes. And I feel good about Duke at the very least. They're a bowl team.
I think so. I've got them at 6-6 or 7-5.
I'm right there with you.
It will look different. Manny Diaz comes to all of this as a defensive coordinator, and I remember talking about him back in the day as somebody who embraced the analytical side of it. I mean, that was part of his calling card early, and certainly why he became a thing, at least among our crowd on the internet. What they do this year defensively will be really interesting to chart. I think the defense is in a place, again, where they want to create havoc. They want to create those game-breaking moments, but they have to get better. And it seems as if they know this. Like, they're not trying to eat the elephant. They're not trying to fix all of what ailed them a year ago.
Right.
They're trying to fix the thing that happened last year a lot, which is when they would give up a short pass play, miss the tackle, and a guy would go for a big gainer.
Yep.
So, they're just trying to fix that and do the other stuff, and they think maybe that'll give them something of a lift. I'm sure there are other areas that they're working on, but Manny Diaz, with that being his pedigree, I'm still waiting for sort of that part of the game to click for the Duke Blue Devils. But even as it is right now, even if it looks different, even if they still have some of the same issues on defense, 6-6 or 7-5, I'm with you. They've earned that benefit of the doubt.
So they last season had 2 games in the ACC portion of their schedule where they had an expected winning percentage of under 15%, according to Bill Connolly's SP Plus team profiles. There was a 15% chance when looking at the rhythm of the game, the stats for both teams, 15% of all games this team ends up winning. They won both of those games. Clemson at 5%, North Carolina at 13%. So they're winning losable games, which is why we say winning is a skill.
Winning
right?
is a skill.
You figure out ways. That Clemson shootout win by 1 was one of the season-turning wins in the ACC.
Doesn't need to be pretty, just needs to work.
Correct. Thanks for watching, and thank you for at least considering subscribing to the channel. It means a ton.